Thank you for joining Premier Sports Officials Association for GPAC training tape number 12 with our guest, Monty Tilsner again. Monty, appreciate you joining us again. On this training tape number 12, I want to share the GPAC statistics on replays and challenges. So far this year, we have 31 total plays reviewed, 7 of them for officials review for targeting, 24 initiated by coaches. We have 11 that came back as stands as called. We have 9 confirmed, and we have 11 overturned. So that's pretty much right in the middle of all 3 categories, which matches up with 2 Division II conferences in our area. Monty, any comparison of what you feel it is at your level, at the Division I level, with a replay official, how many plays stands versus confirmed versus overturned?
Yeah, I think we might have a little more, a little higher percentage of confirmed or overturned, just because of the number of cameras that we have, but not a significant amount, I don't think.
Yeah, and I'm sure the more cameras you have, the more angles you have to confirm or overturn it. Those numbers will sort of dictate that.
Oh, for sure, yes.
So this week, we asked our officiating staff to turn in their best officiated play. And in this week's training tape, we have 14 plays that we have selected that are officiated well. So as we go through this, these are reviews, reminders, and we'll talk about mechanics as they come up. But the first one is a block below the waist on the perimeter, not an area of the field you're typically looking for blocks below the waist with the rule changes in the past few years. But we have that lead blocker going low, and here comes the flag. So the most important part of this play is really the philosophy of when in doubt, if it's at or below, where is the block below the waist here? Monty, you want to talk about that philosophy?
Yeah, so what they've told us, they're pretty adamant on this, is the comment is this is one time we kind of look for intent, at intent, because it's a safety foul. So, the statement is if they are intending to go low, or if they're trying to go low, then they're buying the flag. So we're not going to nitpick it. If you can tell they're going down and going low there, which this guy definitely is, then don't nitpick, oh, is it at the waist or below? Just, it's a foul. So, and this is a really good pickup by the short wing. Looking at this mechanically, we really should have 3 flags. The back judge and the side judge, I believe it is, should be all over this. There's really no other block near the point of attack of any importance that either the back judge or the side judge should be looking at. So that would be the learning point on this one. This is one we should have 3 flags. And I know those guys are way deep because the guy was running a deep route. That's okay. Your flag doesn't have to get to the spot, but if you see it, throw it.
Second play turned in, we have a fair catch signal by a player that is nowhere near the ball. And then we have the judgment of touching and then the ball going out of bounds. So as we go through this, we're going to circle the player that actually gives the fair catch. So Monty, once this player gives the fair catch signal, what does that mean if the ball is caught inside the 20-yard line by another teammate?
Yeah, first of all, what we do on our crew, and I know most of our crews do, is when someone sees a fair catch signal, they'll say fair catch signal. So everybody hears it. And because in this case, it's probably not going to be the covering official who's going to see it, who's going to be that short wing, on the top of the screen. It's probably going to be the referee. And if he just says fair catch signal, then we know that if someone other than that player makes the catch, 1, the ball is going to be dead. We know that. And 2, they do not get the ball at the 25-yard line. He's buying it at that spot where he makes the catch. So now if that player that you have circled made a fair catch signal, and the player who caught the ball also made a fair catch signal, then it would go to the 25. But if the player who catches it does not make a signal and someone else does, then they get at that spot. And we actually had that a few games ago, and they ended up with the ball, unfortunately, at the about the 4 yard line.
So now the ball is bouncing, and now the ruling is, did that receiver touch the ball? And the ruling was they did touch the ball. So now the ball goes out of bounds. So the receiving team will get the ball where it went out of bounds. This is not a kick out of bounds since the receiving team touched the ball. Officials, another learning point on this one mechanically. Once you have the touch legally by the receiving team, we need to wind the clock to start the clock. That helps show the judgment that this ball was legally touched by the receiving team.
Yeah, we need to have that same winding of the clock if it would be legally touched, beyond 10 yards by the kicking team as well.
Third play, we have ineligible linemen downfield. And really the great part about this was the timing and holding onto the flag until it actually became a penalty.
Yeah, and this is just awesome because there's 3 flags, both wings and the umpire. And the umpire is not primary on it, but if you've got it, you throw. So this was outstanding. There's touch, they're coming flag, flag, and flag.
Yes, and that's exactly what we're looking for. We do not want to anticipate a foul. We want to process a foul, and that's what this crew does here. So we have hanging fouls. We are clearly beyond 3 yards downfield. Then we have a legal forward pass that is clearly beyond the line of scrimmage, and that's when the flags start being tossed. So good job not only recognizing it, but then having timing of it and continuing to officiate the play.
Yeah, I was going to say that. That's both the wings continue to officiate the play and go to that dead ball spot. So that was done perfectly.
There we have dead ball officiating and reverse mechanics turned in. So we're going to have a turnover here. So now we know the deep wings will have the spot up into the 2 yard line, and the short wings will have the spot inside the 2 yard line. Also, the referee and umpire have to help each other because this passer remains defenseless on the play. So we have to keep eyes on the passer. So this play is over, and then we have continuing action at the 5 yard line. All right, so as this play goes, Monty, we'll have you see what you see when we get to the end of this play of where the foul is.
Yeah, really good reverse mechanics here. And there are times when the short wing's going to take the spot, even though it's outside the 2. If we have if we have an interception or a fumble that occurs, close to the line of scrimmage, he might end up actually behind it, and he might take that spot, and that's okay. But good job here by the 2 guys here of continuing to officiate and watch these guys go out of bounds, and then excellent job by a referee of not watching that action, knowing that's covered by somebody else, and getting this dead ball stuff at the 5 yard line.
And that's exactly what it is. We can't have 7 officials watching the ball. If you know the ball carrier is taken care of, we're now officiating rings, and the referee did a perfect job of officiating his ring to get this dead ball, late hit, block, foul.
And remember, there's a lot of reasons why we have more dead ball fouls on chain to possession plays. You've got guys who are not used to blocking who are now blocking instead of tackling, guys who are used to blocking who are now tackling. You have high emotions on both teams. The team who has the ball is excited. The team that gave up the ball is upset. So there's just a lot higher possibility of something bad happening at the end of the play. So we really need to focus on expanding our vision. And that was a great job by the referee.
Next play here is a pass fumble turned in by the line of scrimmage official. This quarterback is going to have that arm coming forward, and the line of scrimmage official did a great job of, he might have an opinion, but he doesn't absolutely know what happened, so he keeps the ball alive when in doubt. As this play goes on, it is recovered by the defense, and then you're going to see the officials come in and talk. All right, so Monty, if you're in this position, what do you think these officials are talking about at this moment in time?
Yeah, this is exactly how we want to do it. Now that we have a replay, some of our when in doubts change, and this is one that does change. If we have a quarterback pass fumble situation, when you have replay, when in doubt, it is a fumble, not a forward pass. But they let it play out, which is good because then the defense can advance the ball if they pick it up. And this is just great experience by Randy here of bringing in a couple other officials and having a discussion of, hey, this is what I have, this is what I think we have. Do you have anything different? Piecing it together, and then he make the announcement of, after crew discussion, the ruling on the field is it is an incomplete forward pass, second down, and then we know that this is something that if the defense did recover, which looks like they did, I mean, they could challenge it. It is something that is challengeable, but we do want to, make the ruling, we think, but then it's always good to bring other officials in and have that discussion. So excellent job by everybody, especially line of scrimmage and the umpire for not blowing it dead. Just you shouldn't really be looking specifically at that, but your referee is. So like Sean said, you might have an opinion, but just let it play out, come together, talk about it. And you got to make what that ruling on the field is, because that lets both coaches know, and then the other coach who's not happy with the situation has the opportunity to challenge if he wants to.
Our next play, we're going to go to the end zone view here. And we're going to take a look at, again, reverse mechanics, late hit, dead ball after the half expires. So this is the last play of the first half.
Yeah, and anytime we're under two, we get so many more things we need to be thinking about. Yeah, on this one, we want to check and see, okay, yeah, we do have zeros on the clock. That is correct. We do have a dead ball foul. So we know that that's going to be enforced on our kickoff of the second half. And just, good rules knowledge, by the crew here to understand that.
Yeah, so on this one, this is what Monty was talking about earlier. I'm sure this player is not used to the timing aspect of when a player is out of bounds and have that mental process of lay off of this player. All right, but he is clearly out of bounds, and we have a late hit with the player in the white out of bounds. So good job by both of these officials being dead ball officials and getting this call correct on the field. We have a defensive hold originally changed to a DPI. It's been on previous training tapes before. What is the timing aspect of Monty of when you have it originally defensive hold, and the time element of when you're going to turn it into a defensive pass interference?
Yeah, I would say honestly, probably 80 to 90% will convert. The ones that don't are really those kind of out and ups when, or a stop and go where they grab them early, and then that ball is not thrown, until they're significantly further downfield. But if that's not the case, they usually will convert. And it's important when they do that we remember that, if we're inside of 15 yards, we need to, move that flag. So.
And that was going to be my big takeaway here. We're snapping at the 22. If we keep this, we're snapping at the 18. If we keep this a defensive hold, it'd be half the distance to the goal to the 9, versus we convert it to a DPI. Now this is a spot foul at the 11 or 12 yard line. And we said this in previous training tapes. We're not going to go with what hurts the fouling team the most. We're going to go with what it is. All right, we have 3 fouls on this play. Offensive holding by the receiving team, offensive holding by the receiving team, and then a late hit out of bounds by the kicking team. So as we go through this play, we'll break down. This is hold number 1 at the 30-yard line.
That's an easy one.
And then we have a hold right here at the 25-yard line. And then a late hit out of bounds right there. So, Monty, here's my interest. You have 3 flags from 3 officials. How are you bringing that information to the referee so they could organize the announcement?
Yeah, that's one where we're going to get together. The whoever has the flag down is going to get together. Umpire and referee will probably be there as well. And with 3, these are 2 holds on the return team, obviously, and then the late hit out of bounds is going to be on the kicking team. So as far as a referee announcement is concerned, that's probably a pretty easy one. It's just the numbers. But if the referee needs any help with the numbers, that's something that you should practice as a crew of who's going to feed you the numbers, how they're going to feed you the numbers, when they feed you the numbers, so you look like a rock star on the mic. And especially if you get a game where you're on TV and they're zooming in on you as a referee, you can either look really, really good, or you can kind of chop your way through it. So that's something that might be a good thing to practice before this last game in case you have this situation. But yeah, you want to talk about it and decide. We obviously have 2 live ball holds, so we are going to accept the one that is further back, and we'll move them back further, and we're going to decline the other, and then obviously we're going to enforce the late hit out of bounds, and I believe this was handled perfectly, as your comment said here. You're going to decline the first one, which I think was more like the 30-35. You're going to force the one at the 25 back to the 15, and then you're going to go from the 15, forward to the 30. Yeah. So,
and referees, this is a perfect play to watch and practice your announcement, as Monty just said there. When you ever see plays, process it. Practice every single announcement as much as you can.
Yeah, I worked with a lot of crews this summer, and one thing I did with every single crew was I created a play where we had 5 fouls on it, and I did it for the purpose of they needed to know who's going to be the person who's going to feed the referee the numbers. And I talked about the timing of it to make sure you look really, really good doing that. And we practiced that, and I said, now do this every every 3rd or 4th game. So you're doing it just a couple times throughout the year, practicing it, and then if it happens, it won't be the first time you've done it, and you're going to look really, really good doing it.
Yep. And this is the next play on the clip. They're snapping at the 30-yard line, position number 1. So
perfect.
Our next play here is a DPI hook and turn.
And this is a good one because this is one of the most difficult categories for DPI because they have the hook on them a lot. They're going to have their hand, around their waist, around, their shoulders, maybe around their midsection. But that having it on them means nothing. They actually have to either turn them and turn that receiver away from the ball, or kind of a newer method is actually grabbing, kind of, sometimes they'll grab the jersey in the middle of the back and they'll pull, and when they pull, they're actually projecting themselves forward. So you might not see a turn in that case, but what you'll see is a restriction, taking his feet getting stuck a little bit, but also projecting that defender's body out in front to be able to tip it away. But this one is definitely a turn. But the key is it's got to be that turn has to occur before the ball gets there. That's a great example of that one.
And then just a rule reminder, we're snapping at the 18. So again, if it's underneath 15 yards, we're going to go spot foul. If it is beyond 15 yards, we're going the full 15. It's not going to be half the distance to the goal.
Yeah, and that's a really good example. If you see right now, our back judge, if he continues, going to give the incomplete signal right after he throws the flag, which is what we want. We want to give the result of the play. If it's an incomplete pass, that's the signal we want to give. If it's a completed pass, we're going to give the kill the clock signal. We're not going to do both. If it's incomplete, we're not going to give incomplete, then kill the clock. And I think our officials have done a great job of at least not doing that part. It's easy to forget sometimes to give that incomplete signal or kill the clock signal at the end of the play, because we're all excited with the number on that. I just did that this weekend. Forgot once, but our guys have really been doing a good job of that, I think, this year.
Yep, give the result of the play, preliminary signal, then go to the 020 with the number and category if needed. Holding philosophy on legally blocked punts. So we're going to have at the bottom of the screen here the gunner being taken down to the ground, but then the official doing a two-step process of not throwing the holding because of the material impact on the play with the blocked punt. What is the philosophy and the thinking behind not throwing offensive holding on this play?
So this is one of those, holding should really almost always be a two-step process, but here especially is one that as long as the team B ends up with this ball, we're good holding this flag. Now, if we would get team A being in possession of this, then we would want to put a flag down, because then it would have an impact. But this is a good example of when, per philosophy, we do not put a flag down. We've talked about it before. We also don't, if we have a hold on a free kick where we have a touchback, we don't if it is if we have a hold and we look up and the play is ending, and we also don't if we have a hold or a block in the back that takes that player who was fouled into the tackle. So those are some of the philosophical things, and I really think we've done a great job of that this year. And a lot of times it might be where we throw the flag and then we either think about it or another crewmate comes in and says, mentions it, we talk about it, and then we pick it up. So we've done a really good job with that.
Yeah, and I know I get conversations and questions from coaches about consistency, and I try to explain that the consistency also depends on the situation of the play, and this is what we're talking about, that two-step process. All right, so consistency, takedown, hold, yes, but there's also exceptions to that consistency, such as a blocked punt. Next play here, we got forward fumble into the end zone, out of bounds in the end zone. So a normal forward fumble out of bounds, we're bringing the ball back to the spot of the fumble. Exception, a forward fumble that goes into the end zone. All right, so that's what we are ruling on this, and that's what we're getting information here on this play as well. All right, so Monty, you're a deep official. You've been on the pylon quite a few times with forward fumbles into the end zone. There was one actually in the Ohio State-Penn State game just recently. What are you looking for when it comes to a forward fumble in regards to a pylon?
Yeah, so we know that if we just have that forward fumble goes out of bounds, we bring it back to that spot of the fumble. So we would want to beanbag the fumble spot, because we don't know for sure where it's going to go out of bounds, but we know if that ball hits the pylon, it's a touchback. Obviously, the ball goes into the end zone and out of the side or out of the back of the end zone, we have a touchback. So understanding those rules parts. And if you can go back and just look at the sideline view, that other view, and just look at the mechanics of the depth of this line of scrimmage official, as he goes back to that limit line, and then he feels that that's going to be threatened. So he goes back even further. And that's outstanding because for a few reasons. One, it gives him the depth to be able to make a lot better judgment on what he sees because he's not right on top of it. It also makes it where he's safer. I know in the state of Iowa, we had a line of scrimmage official who was right on top of the pylon. The players came in there, he got rolled up and he got his leg broke.
Mm.
So, we want to be safe with our officials. You notice the G has been moved way back, like 10 yards, which is something I talk about all the time, which is great because we don't want to back up and trip over that. So, and then the communication with the short wing. I think I'm pretty sure he knew what he had, but he just goes and talks about it with the deep wing, and we're killing the clock with the kill the clock signal. And then I'd say the only thing is we went to the 020 right away, and then gave the touchback signal. Go to that touchback signal first, and so because everyone, the announcers are going to see that, the fans are going to see that, and then you can get on your 020 and let the crew know what you got. But that was handled, superbly by the crew.
And I believe this is going to be the last play of the training tape. Um, Now, it is easy for officials late in the game, and it's a score that has a pretty good spread to lose focus. But this play was turned in where they stay locked into the game, and they got the foul they needed to get. And the end zone view is going to be the best part of this, but it's coming from an official that it's out of his area, but there's nothing going on in his area. So, Monty, I'll let you take it over from there. What do you do when nothing is going on in your area of responsibility?
Yeah, so we talk a lot about we have this year, don't officiate air, and if you don't have anything in your responsible area to find the nearest work that can help out the crew. And this, everybody's on the other side of the hash. And this back judge you see our umpire there. Our back judge is on the other side of the field, even with our umpire. And it just opens up to him. But he has nothing else to be looking at. So he's looking through and he sees that, we got a major face mask and there comes our flag. So, we don't get those very often. And we don't want to go looking outside of our area if we have action in our area. But when we don't want to be staring at nothing. So, this really was a crew saver. And there's sometimes when it's like, well, why didn't anyone else see it? Well, sometimes there's bodies in the way. Sometimes you're straight lined. But you can see from the angle right here, it opens up really well to the back judge. But, we might have had the other, kind of covering officials who were blocked out. So, yeah, just that's exactly what we want. Staying in the game, and if you don't have work in your area, find work in the nearest spot.
And as we go into our last week of the regular season play, you know, take that last play of no matter what the score is, every snap counts. So stay locked in, finish the season strong as we bring the end of the 2024 GPAC regular season. Monty, this is our last training tape of the season. We really appreciate the feedback that you have given us, the perspective, and most importantly, the knowledge and experience that you bring to our Great Plains Athletic Conference staff and to many college football officials throughout the nation. Any final words for officials working the last regular season game?
No, just stay focused. You want to, you've had a great season. I think this is probably the best season we've had, and you want to finish it strong, and you want to finish with a good taste in your mouth. So, stay in it no matter what.
All right, last plug here for Monty. Monty, if officials wanted to reach out to you for either individual help or crew help, what's the best way for them to contact you during the off season?
Yeah, just shoot me an email, or a text. Either way, I worked with a lot of individuals and crews, this last year, and yeah, looking forward to doing it again. I think actually with how much I did this year, I think I went into the season more prepared for my season than I ever have because of just anytime you're kind of teaching, you actually learn more than when you're being taught. So yeah, I really enjoy doing it, and just let me know if you want anything.
All right. Thanks, Monty. And those watching the film, please use the email that is in the video, and he will reply to you immediately as he can, as he always does. Thank you again, Monty. And officials, remember, you're only as good as your last call.